Hey everybody, I hope you can hear me fine. Sorry, I have a bad biker in the background. We'll just start in a couple of minutes. And of course, if you guys can hear me, would really appreciate if you can drop a message in the chat box. Thank you, Ashish. Really appreciate. And of course, in the meantime, feel free to introduce yourself. Thanks, Jaspinder. Thanks, Raj. Hi, Pritesh. Awesome part. So, in the meantime, thank you, Prabhas Shankar. I hope that yeah, I got the name right. So in the meantime, feel free to introduce your guys. What do you do? Why exactly are you on the webinar today? What's your objective? Are you planning to start a career in this field? Are you a business owner looking to grow the business? Give me some insights about you. Would love to know more about you. Thanks, Anant. Hi. Hi, Suman. Hi. Hi, Akshay. Good evening, Pritesh. So we'll just wait for a couple of minutes and let other people come in, and then we roll. Hi, Gulab. Hey, Suraj. Awesome. So we have a lot of people. I think we are almost reaching max capacity. Hey, Kajal. Hope you're doing well. Hey, Gaurav. All right, Ashish. You want to pursue digital marketing in the long run? That's awesome. Hi, Dimple. I want to learn more about DM as I know a bit. This whole session will awesome. I'll do my best to make it worthwhile, worth the time. Good to know that. Danish, I have dental equipments business. Oh, that's awesome. Hi, Karamjeet. Currently, I am a student, but very much passionate to make my career in TAM. That's awesome to know, Jaspinder. I'm a social media marketing and looking to expand and experiment. That's really awesome, Anand. Darshan, dropshipping is coming along well, and more updates on the Instagram stories. I joined DM, go starting today from Sunday onwards. Oh, that's good to know, Tushar. All the best for it. We are planning to take 3-month course from your website. That's good to know, Raj. So you're putting me under test. That's awesome. Well, so once the clock hits 8:05, I'll begin with the session. And I'm sure that by this point, you guys already know it's a 12-week long training. And each week I'll be talking about different aspects. And the goal of the training majorly is to understand and devise and use strategies that will produce ROI. So, I'm going to be talking majorly about strategies and how to use different online media channels to generate ROI for a business. So, if you're working as a digital marketer or social media manager, or if you have your own business, you would exactly know, where to spend your time, what strategies to use, which platforms to use, and how much money to spend to make to generate ROI and get money coming back. Because at the end of the day, that is what matters, right? Everything else is just like a show that's put on the outside. But if the money doesn't flow in, it all counts for nothing. So that's going to be the major focus in the 12-week training. And we'll just start with an intro session today in this week. All right. So I think on that note, let's begin with the training. Uh, just a quick question: can you guys see the PPT slide on the screen, which says 12-week DM training to generate maximum ROI? So if you guys can see the PPT, that's awesome. We are sorted, and let's begin. Awesome, Suraj. Thanks, guys. So awesome. So then let's begin with the session for today. Uh, well, now every time I start these sessions, I first throw in a promise. So here's my promise for not just this session, but the entire 12 week of training that one, you'll hear the F word a lot. Now, I use the fuck word a lot. It's who I am. So if you're not used to it, and if you plan to attend the entire 12 week of training, get used to it. That's my promise. It's going to come out now and very often. Right. So that's one. The second thing, this is going to be the most badass digital marketing program you would be a part of. Period. Like the content is pulled out from several different principles, just not DM, but psychology, business, finance, numbers, different prediction models. So I can promise that there's no training like this out there that you may have, been through in the past or will go through in the future, right? Apart from the training that I do, like there's no other training out there like this. And I know it's a big promise to make, so well, I'll deliver on that. So that's my promise for this entire 12 weeks. So I want to make it worthwhile your time. I know time is the most important asset. So I want to make sure that your time doesn't go for a waste and you take 1,000 times worth the time spent here. Well, now, given that that's a promise, well, now before I begin the training, here's a little bit about me for the people who do not know who I am and who are here for the training. At this point, I host India's #1 podcast in the marketing category on iTunes India. For those of you who know Tony Robbins, I have been certified by him as a human behavior and psychology coach. And of course, I'm a startup of the Marketing Nerds. I'm assuming that's where you all came in here on the webinar from, and have founded several other startups. Some really failed, some never took off, and some did really well. So at this point, I run 3 different companies. TMN is obviously the major one, and I run a couple of drop shipping stores, and I am working on another dream project. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And I've been training people for the last 5 years. Earlier, I was completely focused on growing my first agency, digital marketing agency and content marketing company, which was Contentorial. And in the last 5 years, I've trained everybody from actors to entrepreneurs to politicians and you name it. Right? Everybody. So my now the best part is while you're learning from me, I'm not just somebody who teaches. Right? I started off as somebody who ran an agency and still continue to do so. So I work with clients at this point from around the world, be it outsourcing clients or be it clients in India, be it bigger brands, be it small businesses. So I actually know the stuff that I'm talking about, because to work with clients and charge big money, I can't just bluff it. You need to know something for the clients to keep paying you and the clients to keep coming back to you and sticking around with you. So, well, so you're learning from somebody who actually has done it and then is doing it. And so, all the strategies, all the stuff that I'm talking about comes directly from everything that I learn in my own businesses and in applying the strategies for our client businesses. So, well, so now that you know a little bit about me, let's talk about what can you actually expect from this training. Well, one killer strategies to grow any business using digital marketing. Now, it doesn't matter what business you are in or what company you're working for, be it a B2B, B2C, or even if you're working on personal branding, like a celebrity, a politician who need to be branded differently. So you'll be learning all the strategies to grow the business and eventually like building a brand, which again is building followers, growing your Instagram followers and Facebook followers. But at the end of it, all the growth should lead into revenue. For example, Shah Rukh Khan, right? A really big brand has millions and millions of followers, but if those followers do not turn into revenue in terms of ad endorsement, more movies for him, it it's not a brand, right? So eventually, numbers, the social media following should lead into revenue. So we'll be talking about different strategies to build a brand, but how do you turn all the branding into revenue? Behind the scenes stuff, walkthrough of all my lead generation campaigns. So I run several campaigns for myself, for my clients, and like the thousands of campaigns we run each month, and we spend lakhs of rupees on advertising on Google, Facebook, and all the other platforms. So we'll see a lot of examples of behind the scene of how we are doing it for our clients, and at the end of the day, how to use different online media channels to generate maximum ROI within a specified budget, and how to make sure that if you spend one paisa, how do you get the maximum ROI for every dollar spent? Now, because it's easy, anybody can put up a Facebook ad, generate leads. But how do you ensure that you generate leads for the lowest possible amount and convert all the leads that you generate, not all, but the maximum number of leads that you generate into actual customers, right? Because generating leads, putting up a campaign is easy. The science is in conversion and reducing the cost per acquisition. So you learn strategies to do all of that. Now, by the end of the training, what would you actually learn? Well, you'll be able to create a full circle DM strategy to grow any business online. Again, B2B, B2C, personal branding, manufacturing, coaching, consulting, education, e-commerce. So you'll be able to design a complete full circle strategy using all the different media channels, which is online, offline, integrated all to generate maximum ROI for a business. And of course, you learn how to use different media channels and understand what could be the cost per acquisition for one single media channel. Because when you get deeper into the subject, you want to calculate the cost per acquisition for every single media channel. So when I say the word media channel, for example, Facebook is one online media channel, right? It's like a newspaper. You're putting up your ad in between all the content that's native on Facebook, and then you're generating leads or possibly customers, right? So similarly, Google is one media channel, then LinkedIn is one, email marketing is one. So which media channels are the best? How much should you be spending on each media channel? How do you split your budget across all the media channels? For example, if you have 1 lakh rupee in your e-commerce marketing budget, so how do you spend it across email marketing, text message marketing, voice campaigns, Facebook, Instagram, all the other platforms? What's the right strategy? What's the right advertising budget split? What should be the cost per acquisition? So we'll be focusing on that, and you'll understand how you split your entire budget for different media channels. And of course, like at the end of the day, all that matters is what's the ROI, right? If you're working for somebody, the company cares for the ROI. If it's your own business, you better care for the ROI, right? So that's what eventually would be the focus of the training. So one thing, if you're expecting that, hey, you'll be getting into the nitty gritties of how to be really super cool at Google Webmaster Tool, that's not this training, or this is not the training for that. Well, in this training, the entire focus is on strategies and using different media channels optimally and effectively to generate ROI for a business. So I'm not going to make you a pro in one specific domain, but I'll give you a full 3000-degree high level view of everything and go as detailed as possible so that you understand where to focus on. Simple rule, 80-20 rule, something I really, really believe on. Focus 80% of your efforts on 20% of the channels which will derive the maximum ROI. So as a digital marketer who can, who gets paid really high amount, or as a business owner that's wanting to generate a lot of ROI, it's really important that you are able to identify what are those 20% areas where you should be focused on as far as spending your money, advertising, acquiring customers is concerned. So that's what you will be able to do at the end of the training. And you'll be somebody who will be able to add to the bottom line profits of a company, which is at what a company looks for. A company really doesn't look for a digital marketer who can throw in some posts on social media, get a few likes here and there. All that is cool, awesome, but with that you never get paid a big salary. And of course, as a business owner, you just don't want that. You want the increase in the numbers in social media to also, you know, uh, lead that to the increase in the sales and increase in the bottom line. So, well, that's what we will be focused on. So it's really, the training is for entrepreneurs or somebody looking at starting their career or strategically becoming more selective in their digital marketing profession, or for freelancers who are looking at working with clients and you're looking at getting new clients for the freelance business. So the last session will be about how do you go on to find new clients and stuff. All right. So on that note, just one last thing before we actually begin the training for today is, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat box and I'll do my best to answer all your questions. Right. So please keep them posted in the chat box. And in case I miss your question and it goes, I just want to make sure we are on and I wasn't speaking to the wall. All right. So some updates would be awesome, because it's always a little scary to know that you've been talking, and nobody could listen to, oh, the voice gone. All right. So can you guys hear me fine? Is the voice back? Am I reconnected? Or was there a network issue? So Ashish says the voice is gone, which is bad. I hope it's just, is now okay. Awesome, Rishabh. So good to get the confirmation. Thank you for the confirmation. Thanks, Kajal. All right, so let's begin. Thanks, Suraj. So it's back. It's back. Awesome, 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 awesome. So like I posted in the Facebook group, there has been crazy issues with Airtel connection and Geo connection, and because of the heavy rains, so the network keeps fluctuating. So I hope it doesn't disrupt any training, and we go smooth today. But in case you guys see that the connection is fluctuating, please drop in a message so that I know about it and appreciate all the messages. So before we dive deep into the training from next week, I first want to talk about a few terms that I will be using and that you should be aware of, because then once you're aware of these terms, you may not be in for a road shock that, hey, what exactly is he talking about? Right. So let's go through some terms that I'll be commonly using throughout the training. First is the term cold audience. Right. The first term is cold audience. So what exactly is a cold audience? Cold audience is people who have never heard of you or your brand. And we call that audience the cold audience. So people who have never heard of you or your brand are cold audience. Warm audience. So people who, for example, now since I'm sure you got onto this training either through the email campaign or through the Facebook group, or probably you saw an ad about this, right? So that was the next step that you took. You saw the ad, you were in the Facebook group, you are in the email list, you received a few emails, you read the emails, and you felt like, hey, let's go and just hop onto the training and see if it's worth it, right? So you are categorized as the warm audience. So warm audience is the audience or potential, the marketplace that knows about you, has heard about your brand, but is still in the engagement phase where they are still trying to figure it out. Like you say, when we think of buying a car, the first thing we do is we think of which car suits our personality, our budget, the mileage, and blah blah, right? We go through a lot of factors. Once we go through that, the next thing we do is, okay, it's working, cool. So next thing we do is then we go and take different, like we go for test drives, right? You'll probably go test drive a Innova, you'll probably go test drive a XUV 500, a Fortuner, and car that fit your thought process. So the people who go and take test drives, they normally are categorized as warm audience, because you're sure you want to buy a car, but you're not sure which car do you want to buy. So warm audience is the audience that knows that they need products and services that you offer, but they're just not sure which brand or which company should they buy from. So they're testing out, several competitors in the marketplace to see what's the right fit for them. And the hot audience is somebody who is ready to jump and buy your product, right? They are almost there. They are convinced that you are the right product or the right service or the right fit for them. And all they need is a little bit of, hand holding. Probably, sometimes if you're selling a high ticket, like a product, a physical product, like e-commerce stuff, maybe a little bit of a discount, 10%, 20% discount will get them through. Or if you're on the services, probably, changing the terms, installment options, and they're ready to, become your customers. So they're hot audience. Right, so I'll just go through the definition again. Cold is somebody that does not know of your brand. Warm audience is someone that knows about your brand but is still test driving and comparing you with all the other products in the marketplace. And hot audience is somebody who's convinced that they want to do business with you, and they probably need a little bit of hand holding, discounting, change in terms, change in the service agreement, and they are your customers. The next definition or the next word that I'll be commonly using is called as direct response marketing. So what exactly is direct response marketing? Well, in my mind, there are two schools of marketing. One is story selling, and the other one is direct response marketing. Now, direct response marketing stands for the marketing that we do, which is completely focused on sales, 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 and sales. Right. So when I talk about direct response marketing, all you're focused on is sales. Great example of this would be Lenskart, right? So as soon as you sign up for Lenskart, they get your email ID, they get your phone number, and they keep sending out emails to you with different offers, right? 10% discount, 20% discount. They keep sending you text messages. Hey, a discount valid for 4 hours. Use this coupon code. Use this code. We've added 1,000 points to your cart. So the entire focus when I talk about direct response marketing is on sales, right? There's always a call to action to take the customer ahead in the customer life cycle. So that's direct response marketing. You don't do anything without having a call to action. Now, the second school of marketing, which is story selling. Now, story selling or our email or SMS vouchers, etc., all direct. Yes. So SMS vouchers, email marketing. Email marketing could be branding, story selling, or direct response, but SMS mostly, or giving a coupon code or voucher, is 100% direct response marketing. When I talk about branding or story selling, so a great example would be a television ad, right? When you see an ad for, let's say, a jewelry brand, where you have Priyanka Chopra, and when you have the other actor, they meet and they date and they leave and they're happy, and you feel emotional about the story if you connect with the ad and if you like the advertisement, right? You feel emotional about the whole thing. But there's never a call to action. The ad would never say, Priyanka Chopra would never stop and say that, you know what, go right now, go visit the link and enter this code and get a 20% discount, right? There's no call to action like that. It's just to, move you emotionally, and in the process attach the brand name as an anchor for those great feelings. So when a girl thinks about her wedding or her engagement, she thinks about Priyanka Chopra and she thinks about XYZ brand. Or when a guy, when let's say Hrithik Roshan does an ad for Mountain Dew. So when a guy is doing an adventure stuff, he thinks of Hrithik Roshan, he thinks of Mountain Dew, and he's like, "Dar ke aage jeet hai." So I am the macho guy. Let's do this, right? So that's television advertising, which is story selling. So a story is being sold to you. You buy the story, and then you buy the product thanks to the story. Now, another example could be Apple, which is completely based on story selling, right? Apple never comes out and advertises, says that, you know what, so I go to this link or click here, call here, get 20% discount, buy the Apple phone now, right? So it's completely based on story selling, story about jobs, story about how this phone is different, story about how when you buy the phone, you stand out in the crowd because you are Apple and rest of the world is not, right? So these are two different schools of marketing, and I'll be using these two terms heavily to talk about which marketing to be used when, because at the end of the day, while you're marketing, and assuming that most people here are not working for Amazon, Apple, And I'm assuming that most people here do not even have investors like Amazon or Apple, where you don't have billions of dollars sitting into your bank account for marketing budget, right? So probably you're working for a mid-sized company, or probably you are a small business. So you do not have money like Amazon, Flipkart, and all the bigger brands to spend crazily on advertising and story selling and put up TV ads and stuff all around the town. So how do you divide your budget? Why is one marketing important, and how do you should you use a mixture of marketing to grow your brand? Is something we'll talk about. But at this point, the goal is just to know the difference between direct response marketing and branding and story selling. Right. So I hope these five terms are clear, because they'll be constantly used throughout the 12 weeks that we talk about in this training. So uh, at this point, I'll just take a quick 30-second break to see if there are any questions. So if you guys have any questions before we move on to the next thing, which is understanding a business cycle and the customer life cycle, and what role does marketing play, and what's your job as a marketer. All right, so I think there's a little bit of a lag in the questions coming in. So what I would do is I would begin the training, and once the questions come in, I'll take the questions then. So let me switch on the whiteboard. So I hope you guys can see the whiteboard. Let me just switch off my webcam. And all right, so can you guys see the whiteboard that we have here? So I'll be using the whiteboard to explain the entire customer life cycle, and what role does marketing play in the customer life cycle, and how do we eventually use the digital media in the customer life cycle journey. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for the confirmation. So let me quickly draw something for you guys. Right, my handwriting horribly sucks, so please bear with it. And if you don't understand what I write specifically when I'm drawing, so please ask in the chat. So let's say that this is just one lead, right? That's L, which stands for lead, and this is one lead. Now, what exactly is a lead? A lead is someone who is keen on buying products which you sell or similar products, right? So, Pritish, if in case you're having voice issues, probably just refresh and it should be sorted. So let's say that this one person is a lead, a potential customer for your business. Let's assume that you have a business at this point, and this one person, one lead, is a potential customer. Now, all right. So, sorry, is everybody facing issues with the voice cutting in and out? Because there's hardly anything I could do about the internet connection at this point. So I'm just hoping it's just one off for Pritesh and Rishabh, and everyone else is able to hear me fine. All right, so no, awesome. So you guys are able to hear me fine. So probably then you guys can just refresh, so we can. I think you guys should be sorted in case you're having some issues. Okay, so if people are able to hear it clearly, so 100% no issues from my connectivity. So you guys could just refresh, and hopefully it should be fine for you guys. So moving on, thank you so much, guys. Let's assume that this person is one lead, right? And this is my product, right? Sorry, the drawing sucks, but this is the lead that is interested in this product that your company sells, right? Now, let's say that my company is ready to launch the product. So one, how does this person get to know that, hey, my product is in the market and he could buy it, right? Let's say I go on to hire a sales staff, right? So I hire a sales staff, and I tell the salesperson that, hey, make sure to sell my products, right? So typically a company creates a product, you want this lead to buy this product, and you hire a sales staff for selling of the product, so that once you sell the product, the company makes profits, right? So I'll write it as PR. Sorry, the handwriting is really bad. Right, so that's the eventual goal, which is PR stands for profit. The company wants to make profits, and it's created this product which it which the company wants to sell to the marketplace. And this person is a potential lead who is interested in buying the product. And the company goes ahead and, hires a salesperson, says that, hey, you know what, go to the marketplace, sell the product. Now, one thing the salesperson could do is, find and go door to door, which used to happen in the past, and knock on every single door saying that, hey, do you want to buy the product? But that's going to be really ineffective, right? Because you don't know where your target audience is. How does the salesperson know who really wants to buy the product? He doesn't know who's the right interested candidate to buy the product. So door to door selling is very outdated. So that's not happening. So let's assume hypothetically that, this lead gets like he dreams, and in the dream he finds that this our company created this product and he can go buy the product from our company, right? Although there are other people in the marketplace selling similar products, but he just dreamt of it luckily for us, and he is now ready to buy our product. So what does he do? He gives a call, or probably he visits the outlet and, speaks to the salesperson. He comes in to inquire about the product by wanting to talk to the salesperson. Now at this step, so while he's wanting to buy the product and he walks into your outlet, now since he hasn't seen any marketing message, since he hasn't seen any advertising from your company, he would come in with 10,000 questions, and all the questions need to be answered by the salesperson, right? Because there was no form of marketing or advertising at all. So now the entire selling job is completely dependent on salesperson. 100% of selling needs to be done by the salesperson, right? He has to handle all the objections. For example, the lead that walks into your outlet may have technical questions, may have questions like, what's the warranty, what's this, what's that, how long will it work? Because they must have seen advertising from the competitors, and all the objections they had with them also come here. But now, without advertising, the 100% onus on selling the product lies in the hand of the salesperson. And honestly, majority salespeople suck, right? They are horrible at selling the product. So will the sale happen? Most likely not. But let's assume that the sale happens. So now with this model, you are only dependent on one, the person dreaming that your product is live into the marketplace, which is hardly going to happen, right? So there's no way you could scale the business. So we tried two approaches. One, sending the salesperson door to door, which is a very outdated number, and the chances of him wasting more time going to the knocking on the wrong doors is way higher. Number two, people dreaming about your product being live into the market, which is never going to happen, right? And you can't scale hoping that everybody would dream that you've launched the product into the marketplace. And depending on your salespeople to sell the product all the time is crazy, because it's difficult to find great sales staff. So what's the role of marketing? Now this is where marketing comes into picture, right? So this is where we start marketing. So once you create the product, you market the product to this lead or all the people who are interested in a similar product, and you bring them to your store or to your outlet, or you get them to call you, right? So what is the job of marketing? One, the job of marketing is to, number one is to, you know create more awareness. That's number one. That's the first thing we want to do with our marketing, is to create more awareness that, hey, we have XYZ product in the market. I know you were interested, or you are interested in buying XYZ product, and we have XYZ product into the marketplace. That's one. The second objective of marketing is to handle objection. You want to handle the objections. So you want to preempt what objections will people have with your products or your services. And how do we do that? If you're selling e-commerce, you go to Amazon, search for similar products, see what people are saying in the 2, 3, 4 star reviews, what objections they've had with other similar products, and you start creating advertising material and marketing material to handle the objections. For example, if you're doing drop shipping, and for similar products on Amazon, most people have had the objection that the product delivery took 60 days, or the packaging was horrible. So you know that you will also have similar objections or similar resistance, or probably a refund coming back because of long delivery and horrible packaging, right? So how do you encounter that, and how do you handle that objection in your marketing and advertising, right? So probably what's a disadvantage could be turned into an advantage in your advertising by saying that, we take longer time, we take, longer than normal to deliver the products because we care about our customers, and we manufacture, we start building the product once we get the order, and we send the product with a lot of love. And you want to, work on the packaging, that we make sure that we package the product beautifully, so that, it increases your conversion, because people already have that objection with similar products in the marketplace. You want to understand and analyze, and make a list of all the objections. And the second and the important goal of your marketing campaigns is to make sure that you handle all the potential objections. So marketing goal one, awareness. Hey, we have XYZ product or service in the marketplace. Number two, you want to make sure that the objections are taken care of. And number three, and the most important thing you want to do with your marketing campaigns, or the goal of marketing should be to minimize the number of questions people may ask your sales staff or your customer support staff, right? That's one very, very, that's a really major goal when you are running marketing campaigns, which is to make sure that with your marketing campaigns, you reduce the number of questions that your sales staff is going to handle. Because, the more questions your sales staff needs to answer, the lesser your conversions and less products you will end up selling. So you want to make sure that, through your marketing campaigns, through direct response and branding, something you learn later in the training, you want to make sure that, you throw in the campaigns, you create campaigns in a way that people do not, the potential customers ask lesser questions to your sales staff. Because if they are going to ask a lot of questions to your sales staff, and if your sales staff is not trained well, or they're not great at selling, which is the case most times, you will end up with lesser conversions. So even if your marketing draws in somebody to your store, but it's not taking care of majority of the questions about your products or the objection, they will still ask a lot of questions to the salesperson here, and which means your bottom line profits will keep going down, right? So really, 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 really important goal is to make sure that your marketing campaigns always create awareness, handle objections, and number three, reduce the number of questions that your sales staff would get. So that's the goal of marketing, right? So which is when it's eventually to generate a lot of ROI. And to me, or in my mind, the major goal of marketing is to eventually eliminate all real humans from selling, right? The lesser the number of people you need for selling, and the more the marketing is doing the job of selling, the better and the easier it will be for you to scale and grow a business. And going back to the whiteboard again, so what I want to do is show you now. I said that this is your lead, and we want to bring them to the product here. And so how do we actually market? Now, this is where online media comes in and offline media, right? One way to create awareness about your product is what? One is television. You could run television ads. The other way could be newspaper. And let's say the third avenue we have is digital marketing, right? So DM. So these are, now when I talk about digital marketing, it's again, DM is nothing but a different media channel. So each one of this, newspaper, television, DM, is all a different media channel, right? We could add radio to this. So that's a different media channel. So you run radio ads. Now, for each media channel, there is a cost that's involved to the company. And a company pays a certain amount of money on each media channel to reach out to its potential target audience. Now, which media channel is the right one for a company? That really depends on the business and the product. Right? A lot of times, DM in itself may not be the right media channel for a company. Let's say that if you're selling something really, really expensive to the top Fortune 500 CEOs, so they are not going to be spending a lot of time on LinkedIn, Facebook, Google, YouTube. right? The best way to reach out to them would be using a alternative media channel, which is the fifth media channel, which could be magazine. And these not the regular magazines, but magazines that go in the business class of the most expensive airlines, because the Fortune 500 CEOs most likely would be traveling a lot, and they would be spending a lot of time in the airplane. Apart from the private jet they use, they might spend a lot of time within the business class of most expensive airlines. So you want to throw in the ad in the magazines that are only available in the business class of a expensive airliner. So now these four are not something of our concern, right? We are not concerned about the newspaper, the television, the radio, the magazine at this point, because hey, the training is all about DM and online marketing, right? So our goal is one, to understand the different online marketing channels. So let me just completely erase this. So let me just clear this out. So now, since we're talking about DM as a marketing channel, now within DM, let's say this is our DM marketing channel. Now within this, we alternatively have multiple channels. So we have Facebook as one marketing channel. We have Google, Google Ads, Google AdWords as one marketing channel. We have YouTube as another marketing channel. We have Instagram, we have Snapchat, we have LinkedIn, we have text message marketing. So you see, we have email marketing. So this thing keeps growing, right? We have different media channels within digital marketing. So when I talk about, a lot of people wrongly use the word, I am into an online marketing business, right? There's nothing called as online marketing business, because online, you're just using a media channel to run a business. A business is a business. So now when I talk about DM, the first distinction that's important to understand when I use the word channel is every online platform is a different channel to reach your potential target audience. Now within each channel, there's a cost involved. So I'm paying a different cost to get new customers and leads on every channel, be it YouTube, be it Facebook. So every channel involves a different cost. So if I want to be a digital marketer that makes a lot of money for himself, or if I am an entrepreneur that wants to make a lot of money and grow my business, first thing I need to understand is what exactly is the cost to get new customers from each channel. So how much am I spending on Google to get new customers? How much am I spending on Facebook to get new customers? How much am I spending on YouTube to get new customers? Right. So this term is called as CPA, which is another term that I will be commonly using, which is called as cost per acquisition. Let me just clear this off so that CPA, right? CPA stands for cost per acquisition. Now, when you're running marketing campaigns, the first and the most important thing you need to understand and start analyzing is the cost per acquisition. So this, in simple terms, means that how much money are you spending on individual channels, right? How much money are you spending on individual channels to acquire new customers, right? So let's say if I'm spending 100 rupees on Facebook advertising to get one new customer to buy my e-commerce product, my cost per acquisition for Facebook is 100. And yeah, cost per, and if I'm spending, let's say 150 rupees on Twitter to acquire new customer, it's again, my CPA for Twitter is 150. Rushabh, yeah, you could include like Twitter in DM. Absolutely. Twitter again is another media channel to reach out to your potential customer. So anything like online, it could be a DM channel, as long as you can reach out to your potential customers and acquire them. So everything will be a different channel though. So first thing you want to do always is understand and calculate your cost per acquisition for different media channels. Right? If you have an existing business, so before you start creating any campaign for any company, right? Let's say you've been hired as a digital marketing manager for ABC company. So I really wouldn't jump on to start creating campaigns right off the bat for the company, because first thing I would do is, hey, give me your cost per acquisition for different media channels, online and offline. Let me understand how much are you spending on which media channel and what is the cost per acquisition. Because if you give me a budget of 50,000 rupees per month and expect me to get maximum customers out of it, the first thing I want to do is make sure that I only spend that money on platforms that bring in customers at the lowest cost per acquisition. Right now, let's say if I'm been hired by the company, but I don't analyze any data that or any campaigns that they've run in the past, and I do not calculate the cost per acquisition for any media channels for online, and I see that hey, because it's a B2C product, let's just run Facebook ads and let's just do Instagram ads. I think that's going to convert better because those are major B2C platforms for advertising, and I run campaigns, I get customers, and everything looks cool. And at the end of it, I realized that I actually ended up spending way more than the company was originally spending across, Snapchat, which again is a great B2C platform. And the cost per acquisition through Snapchat was lower compared to what I got for Instagram and Facebook. Right. So that's why it's really important. The first thing you do is plot so that later you could analyze what are the right media channels to plot all the cost per acquisitions across different media channels. Right. So I hope the term CPA is clear, which we will be using heavily again. And but doesn't the CPA also rely on the target audience? Yep, the CPA will rely on the target audience and the channel you're using to reach out to them. So for every product, you would have multiple channels to reach out to your target audience, and each target audience, so each channel would be a different cost per acquisition, which is what we want to calculate. So eventually, this is our goal, right? Here is our product, and we want to land our product to the customers. I have all these different ways to reach out to my customers, right? I have this way, I have this way, I have this way. So eventually our goal is to what? Reach our customers within the shortest path by spending the least amount. So if I know what is a CPA on different platforms, I could then reach out to my customers using the platform or the channel that's costing me the least so that my profit margins increase and I spend less in advertising and marketing. So that's what we are eventually trying to reach at. So I hope the concept of CPA is clear at this point. And again, how do we use this and how do we analyze it? How do we create campaigns using keeping CPA in mind and split the advertising budget? All of that comes in later in the training. At this point, even if you just understood the term CPA, that's freaking awesome. And again, if you joined a new company, uh, or if you run your own business, you want to analyze what is your CPA for offline and online both. If you do offline newspaper brochures, television, radio, analyze your CPA. Now sometimes it gets difficult because television and radio CPA is not like very straightforward to analyze, right? So in that case, you just want to calculate the total amount of marketing budget you spend. So I would majorly focus on analyzing the CPA when I join a new company. And if you're already working in a company, make sure to go back and look at the past campaigns, analyze the CPA per channel. So that's one term. And let's move to the next definition. So today's it's all about understanding different definitions and at the end of it, the business model. So lastly, one concept I want to talk about today before we start the actual training from the next session is most people talk about big brand case studies. You'll read a case study about how Flipkart did this, how Apple did that, how BMW ran a campaign, and how XYZ ran a campaign, and it was a freaking successful campaign. But I would refrain from copying or doing or studying anything that a big brand does for a couple of reasons. One, the big brand is already a big brand, right? So if I have been given a like if I've been asked to design a campaign for Apple, so Apple is already Apple, right? It's already a brand. People know it. So there's a residual carryover effect in terms of branding that you'll always be able to leverage on when you create a new campaign. So I don't have to create a brand name because it's already a brand name. No matter what campaign I run, even if it's the fucking worst campaign in the world, it's still going to generate certain traction because that's the campaign for Apple, right? So, and number two, when we talk about the ROI from the big brand campaigns, it's most likely never calculated, right? It's always spoken about in terms of awards or number of followers, number of likes, number of comments, and number of shares, which does not generally translate into revenue all the time for bigger brands, because for them it's all about also about positioning, authority, power game, dominating their space. So for these couple of, and the lastly, they have millions of fucking dollars in marketing budget, right? Eventually, marketing, once you create your message, which is what we spoke about, right? Once you understand your customers, their objections, you create campaigns to handle those objections so that your salespeople need to answer less and speak less. But eventually, you also need money to distribute your marketing message, right? It's, we are eventually, when we talk about advertising, money that we pay, investments, we are talking about distributing our marketing message. So the message that we create after understanding our audience and their objections, we need to send the message to our right target audience using different channels. When we use the channel, we need to pay the channel to make sure our message reaches the right target audience, which is your advertising budget. So big brands have a fucking lot of money to distribute the message. So even if the marketing campaign or ad campaign is horrible, they have the money and the resources to distribute the campaign. So irrespective, people are going to see their campaign, and probably a few percentage eventually shares the sucky or the horrible campaign, which again makes it look like it's a successful campaign, right? So that's why when you're trying to learn marketing, implement marketing campaigns, specifically if you are a small business, mid-sized business, or if you're doing it for your company, it's the most stupidest thing to like take a cue from the big brands, and that they did this, so let's we also should try this, we also should put up a campaign here, do an ad like this, because you'll eventually burn your fucking money. For example, it's like me saying that I like Kai Green as a bodybuilder. For all of you who are aware of bodybuilding, so number two, Mr. Olympia, Kai Green, the second biggest bodybuilder in the world. Now, if I follow his workout program because I like him, I would never be able to build that kind of a body. And forget that, in a couple of days I would be on the bed, right? Because he's at a different level, he has different resources, I do not. And if I try and follow something which is not exactly on my scale and my level, I would just burn the money. So here's what you need to understand about how big companies function and how small companies function. So irrespective of where you're working, you then know what's the right kind of marketing campaign to go after so that you get the maximum ROI from the money that you spend. Right? For, let's take an example, best example, Amazon. Right? So how exactly does Amazon work, or what's the whole model behind Amazon, or all the big brands like Flipkart, Lenskart, all the cards that you know about, Zappos? It's all a burn and eliminate game, right? Even if you go and read the book, The Everything Store, or watch Bezos's interview, who's the CEO of Amazon, right? He clearly says that anybody who can spend the most money to acquire a customer, which is CPA, will eventually win. So bigger brands have millions or fucking billions of dollars sitting in the bank account from investors, and when they run marketing campaigns, they acquire customers at a loss. They don't make profits. They end up losing money, which is called burning the money, right? In technical terms, it's called as a burn rate. So they have a crazy high burn rate, and they can afford to take up all the losses, which is thousands of crores of rupees in losses every single year, because they have investor cash and they look at the customer lifetime value, which is something we'll talk about later, right? So for example, now why you shouldn't be doing that, or why you shouldn't be marketing like them, because their marketing is completely dependent on burning the money. They have a quarterly budget which is millions of dollars every quarter, and they have to burn it irrespective of they need a campaign or not. They will run the ads, shitty ads or good ads, but they need to burn the money. But a small or a mid-sized business cannot afford to do that, because if you're a startup, if you're a small business, you're spending, let's say, 20,000 bucks in advertising. You want 50, 60, 70,000, 1 lakh rupee coming back, right? You can't just say that, hey, I ran a nice TV commercial, I got an award for my advertising, but hey, no customers. So in a couple of months, your business will be gone. So now I give this example often, which is Lenskart. We all buy initially from Lenskart because one, they give something for free, and then they keep giving great freaking discounts all the time, right? So let's assume that Lenskart is giving me discount for 10 years, and I keep buying glasses from them because I'm crazy about buying glasses. But at the end of the 10th year, when the investors at Lenskart wake up and say that, hey, you know what? Let's make some profits and let's get some money back. So to make profits for a company, they can't keep discounting all the time, right? they need to sell at a decent profit margin. So Lenskart reduces the discount from 50-60% to suddenly says we can only give you 20% discount now because our investors are going crazy. They want the profits. Shareholders are going crazy. So the product prices increase now. The discounts go down. And at the same time, there's a new company, Glasscard, which comes out with investor cash and great discounts. Will customers still buy from Lenskart? Absolutely not, right? We'll immediately switch loyalty because the first thing we look at when we buy an e-commerce product from Flipkart, Amazon is where exactly is the best deal, who is given the maximum discount, and who has great reviews. And you buy from the person who's giving the best discount with good reviews, right? So this model is not sustainable if you're a small business or a startup, and something that's going to, this bubble will eventually burst even for bigger brands like Snapdeal and a lot of other companies because they'll go out of existence. Right? Absolutely, that's Zomato, that's Swiggy. Great for consumers, end consumers. It's awesome because we end up getting a lot of discounts in this, investor war and competitor war. But not a great model to run the business, specifically if you do not have investor cash, right? So if you want to be a great digital marketer and if you're not working like at the topest level for the bigger brands who have investor cash loaded, you can't run campaigns like them. So your focus needs to be in generating ROI. So we work with a lot of small business owners and companies that make anywhere from 10 crores to 30 crores. So they really care about their ROI. They don't care about how many people saw my advertising, how many liked. They care about how many new customers did we get this month. How can we go from 10 crores to 15 crores to 20 crores? And if you as a digital marketer can't do that for them, they won't have you around for a long time. If you as a freelancer agency can't deliver that for them, you will be gone in a couple of months. They'll be changed the agency like that, right? So this is where you can't market one way, which Lenskart does, which is completely direct response marketing. We need to focus on customer loyalty, brand building, repeat purchase. Three most important things, which is done by a combination of two schools of marketing, which is story selling and brand building. So something again we'll talk about in detail, but before we start the actual training, the first week from the next Wednesday, here's a little homework that I want you guys to do. Right now, my goal is to make sure that you understand marketing at a higher level, understand the goal of marketing, and be a digital marketer that actually can understand numbers and generate ROI for a company. The moment you can do that, the amount of money you can make is crazy. But if you're somebody who's just focused on, hey, what, let's learn digital marketing and then you can put up a few campaigns, I can run YouTube ads and stuff, that's not really a fascinating career ahead because companies really care about ROI at the end of it all. Right. So here's a little homework I want you guys to do. If you are a business owner, how much of a money or how much of forget money, what percentage of your marketing at this point is direct response and what percentage is story selling, right? How much of your marketing, how many of your marketing campaigns are buy now, click here, sign up for this, do this, and how much is my products at this, I started the company at this time, which is story selling. So calculate the percentage, split the percentage, and make a note of that. And if you do not have a company, if you're working at a company, so analyze your existing marketing campaigns and figure out what percentage is direct response and what percentage is branding and story selling. A good company, like not in a different context, but a company with good marketing campaigns will usually have a 60-40 split. 60 could be direct response, 40 could be branding, 40 could be a direct response, 60 could be branding. But a 60-40 ratio is always a good number to look at. But if your company is just doing direct response, bad marketing. If your company is just doing story selling, 100% bad marketing because you'll struggle for money to come in, right? So a good ratio 60-40. So step number one, analyze how much of your existing marketing campaigns are direct response and how much of it are story selling. Right? That's the first thing you want to do as an assignment. And the second thing which you want to do as an assignment would be analyze, know a little bit about, try and learn a little bit about numbers and try and learn a little bit about different business models. right? Because as a smart digital marketers, it's really, really important that you understand different business model. So, for example, what's the business model behind Snapchat? Like what's the business model behind apps? What is the business model behind different apps, or Shopify as a company? What is the business model behind Flipkart, Lenscard? So what I'll do is, inside the Facebook group, and I'm hoping that all of you are in our Facebook group. Tomorrow I'll post a link to a video which which is a really cool video in understanding different business models. So you can go through the video so you know about different business models, like the acquisition business model, the product business model, the service based model, the advertising model. So in a nutshell, you want to analyze 4 different types of businesses. One, e-commerce business. Pick your favorite e-commerce brand and try and understand the business model behind it. How do they actually make money? Number 2, app. Pick your favorite app and uh, try and understand how does your app make money. It could be Instagram, it could be Snapchat, it could be any other app that you like. So how does that app make money? Third, pick a media company like Entrepreneur Magazine, or NDTV.com, or any other favorite media company that you like, and try and understand how do they make money, what's the business model behind it. And number 4, pick a service based business, any service based business you like, probably a marketing agency or any other kind of a chartered accounting company, or a law agency, or any other agency that you like. And what's the business model behind it, and how do they monetize, acquire customers. So uh, this and combined with analyzing the percentage split of direct response and story selling within your company is what you need to be doing before we actually start the training next week. Right, today was not the first week of the training. Today was just a introduction session, and wanted to talk about a few terms of the terms that I'll be heavily using throughout the training, and what exactly will the training be focused on. From the next session, we'll talk about the nitty gritties, like the Facebook. How do you use Facebook? How do you use Instagram, Snapchat, email marketing? And you'll be seeing all the actual campaigns that I use and I run, and all of it. But today was just a foundation session to speak about the terms that I will be using, and just do an overview session and say hi to you guys. So, Rushabh, the name of the group is Digital Marketing Training and Job. So I'm not opening Facebook because it may cut down the internet speed, and probably the streaming would get disrupted. So if somebody has a link to the group, can you guys please post it for Rushabh? Uh, awesome. So at this point, do you guys have any questions? So I just wanted to keep it really short today, not a long one. Just do introduction and talk about a few terms. Awesome, Suraj. Thanks so much. And yep, I think somebody asked for the replay link. So you will get the replay to the entire webinar. If you weren't able to hear it, you can go back and watch the replay. Thank you so much, Ashish. Really appreciate that. So I think from today's session, if you just got these few things, that will be really awesome. One, where does marketing come into picture? What exactly is the goal of marketing? Awareness, uh, reducing the objection, and the number 3 would be making sure that your salespeople have to speak as less as possible. Right, the customer should be like, hey, after looking at all the marketing, I just want to buy from XYZ brand. That's it, nothing else. Right, this is the brand. The customer is just willing to come to your place and pay you the money, and all the salesperson has to do is create the contract and take the money. So, well, if you understood that, and if you understood what is a CPA, and if you understood that the entire digital media is split into different channels, and each channel is a way to distribute your message to your right target audience, and there's a cost involved in distributing the message, or time involved in distributing the message, and your goal is to find out the shortest path to your destination, which is the least cost to reach out to your customers and acquire customers. That's what you will be doing as digital marketers, which is to figure out the right avenue, right? So, and if you just got that, and if you understood the difference between direct response and branding, and the whole assignment, I think you're gold. Absolutely, Rishabh, I'll do that. Pretty cool. Yes, Suraj 6040. So awesome. So thank you so much. It was great talking to you guys. And I'll speak to you next week when we actually begin the training with using Facebook as a media to acquire a customer. That's step number one. So I'll talk to you next Wednesday, same time. And if you have any other questions, you can also drop it in the Facebook group. And I look forward to talking to you then. Thanks, Rishabh. Appreciate it. I hope you guys had a, a oh, I lost the voice there. I'm back. So I hope you guys were able to get something out of the training today and the introduction session, and you got the roadmap of where we are heading to. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care and have an awesome week ahead. Well, thanks, Dimple. Well, glad to know that, Rishabh. Appreciate that. Thank you, Pritesh. Thanks, Ashish. Appreciate. All right. So talk to you guys soon. Good night.